Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell for more true life stories that touch the heart and keep you on the edge of your seat. The rain outside the Royal Haven Hotel came down in sheets, drumming on the grand glass entrance like a warning. Inside, billionaire Charles Benton sat alone at the bar, nursing a drink he hadn't even touched. His tailored suit, his Rolex, his aura, everything about him screamed success. But tonight, something was off. His eyes darted to the mirrored wall behind the bartender every few seconds. At the far end of the lobby, 5 men in dark coats slipped in one by one. No one noticed, except for Maria, the night shift maid. She had learned to notice everything. Her quiet eyes took in details most people ignored. The way one man's hand lingered near his pocket, the slight bulge under another's jacket, the matching tattoos on their necks. Maria had worked at the Royal Haven for 6 years, cleaning up the messes of the rich and powerful. But before that, she'd lived a very different life, one she'd buried deep. "Mr. Benton," the bartender said softly, "you want me to call your driver?" Charles shook his head. "No, I'll wait." His voice was tight. "She's supposed to meet me here." Charles gave no answer. The 5 men spread out casually, one near the elevator, one by the reception desk, 2 sitting at nearby tables, and the last lingering by the exit. Their eyes flicked toward Benton in perfect coordination. Maria's gut twisted. She'd seen this look before, in another country, another lifetime. When Charles finally stood to leave, 2 of the men moved first. "Evening, Mr. Benton," one of them said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "We'd like to have a word." Charles froze. "Who are you?" The man chuckled. "Let's just say your business deal in Dubai didn't sit well with our employers." Before Charles could respond, one man blocked his path while another reached subtly for something under his coat. The bartender stepped back. Guests nearby looked down at their phones, pretending not to see. Maria's heart pounded. Then she heard it, a faint metallic click. Gun. She didn't think. She moved. In a blur, she slipped through the service door into the kitchen and pulled a small, rectangular box from under the counter. A black emergency control unit she'd kept hidden for years. She'd once wired similar systems during her time as a field technician in the Venezuelan Special Forces. No one at the hotel knew that. She flipped a switch. Instantly, the lights in the lobby flickered, the security doors slid shut, and a silent alarm went to her pager. Not the hotel's, hers. Charles turned as the lights dimmed. "What's happening?" The men cursed. "She locked us in." Maria stepped out from behind the wall, a cleaning cart in front of her. "Gentlemen," she said evenly, her accent thick but calm, "please put your weapons on the floor." The men laughed. "Or what? You'll mop us to death." In one motion, she flipped her mop handle. The head clicked off, revealing a collapsible metal baton. Before the nearest thug could react, she struck his wrist sharply. The gun fell. Another lunged. She swept his legs, sending him crashing into the bar. Charles stared, speechless. The bartender ducked behind the counter. The remaining 3 men regrouped. "You messed with the wrong people, lady." Maria took a stance, eyes sharp. "No," she said, "you messed with the wrong hotel." The next few seconds blurred, shouts, crashes, a broken bottle, and a flying chair. By the time security burst in, 2 men were on the floor, one limping, and one trying to crawl toward the exit. The last one raised his hands. Maria stood still, breathing hard, a bruise forming on her cheek. The lights flickered back on. Charles finally found his voice. "You saved my life." Maria didn't answer right away. She just picked up her fallen cleaning rag and said softly, "No, sir. Just doing my job." But deep down, her hands were trembling. She hadn't fought in years, not since the night her husband disappeared during a mission. When the police took the men away, Charles approached her again. "Who are you, really?" Maria hesitated. "Someone who stopped being anyone a long time ago." That night, after the chaos, Charles couldn't sleep. He sat in his penthouse suite, watching the city lights. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her, calm, fearless, wounded, the woman who saved him. By morning, he made a decision. He went to the staff quarters. "Maria," he said, "I owe you my life. I want to help you." She shook her head. "I don't need help, sir. I need peace." He smiled faintly. Then maybe peace is what I'll give you. But what neither of them knew was that the attack wasn't over. One of the men Maria had taken down wasn't working alone, and someone inside the hotel had betrayed them both. The morning after the attack, the Royal Haven Hotel tried to return to normal. Bellboys smiled. Music played softly in the lobby, and the smell of fresh coffee filled the air. But beneath the surface, there was tension, unspoken and electric. Maria had cleaned up broken glass and bloodstains before dawn. She moved quietly, as if nothing had happened, though every muscle in her body ached. She didn't want thanks or attention. She wanted the incident to disappear, like so many memories she'd buried before. But Charles Benton wasn't going to let it go. He found her in the linen room, folding towels with robotic precision. "Maria," he said gently. She didn't look up. "Mr. Benton, I already gave my statement to the police." "I know," he said, stepping closer. "But I didn't come here for that. I came to thank you properly." She hesitated. "You already did." He smiled faintly. "Then let me try again." He held out a small card. It wasn't a check or a gift card. It was an invitation, gold-edged, embossed with his company's logo. Benton Industries Global Security Conference. Maria frowned. "Why are you giving me this?" "Because I want you to be head of security at the event. You clearly have more skill than half the train guards I've hired." Her eyes snapped to his. "Head of security? Me? I clean rooms." "You saved my life, Maria," he said softly. "I don't care what's on your uniform. I care what's in your head and your heart." She looked away. "I can't go back to that life." "What life?" Maria sighed. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, in a low voice, she confessed, "I was once part of a private tactical unit. I was trained to fight, to protect, and to disappear. When my husband died during an ambush, I left it all behind. I came here to forget." Charles's voice softened. "And now you've saved someone else's husband from dying. Maybe fate hasn't forgotten you." Maria blinked away tears she didn't want to show. "You don't understand. The last mission I worked on, it was your company's compound." He froze. "What?" She turned slowly. 5 years ago, your mining division in South America, the one that got attacked by rebels. I was there as part of the security contract. My husband, Mateo, was the lead engineer who refused to abandon the site." Charles's face went pale. He remembered that incident. A mining explosion, sabotage, several employees missing, including one presumed dead. "Mateo Alvarez," he whispered. "That was your husband?" Maria nodded. Charles sank into a chair, stunned. "Maria, I didn't know. I thought all the names on that list were accounted for. I personally signed the closure report." Her eyes burned. "You signed my husband's death certificate without even knowing him." Silence filled the room. "I'm sorry," Charles said finally. "If I'd known, you wouldn't have changed anything," she said coldly. "Men like you never do." She turned to leave, but he stopped her. "Wait, those men who attacked me. They mentioned Dubai, but maybe it wasn't about me at all. What if they were after you?" She frowned. "After me?" Charles nodded. "You said your husband's death involved sabotage. Maybe someone connected to that incident survived, and they think you know something." Before she could reply, his phone buzzed. A message flashed. "You should have stayed quiet. The maid knows too much." He looked at her. "They're not done." That evening, the hotel was locked down again. Charles moved Maria to a private suite, away from prying eyes. Security tripled, but danger was already inside. At midnight, Maria awoke to the faint sound of footsteps, deliberate, slow, coming from the service corridor. She reached instinctively under her pillow, where she'd hidden the baton again. "Who's there?" she whispered. The door creaked open. A shadow slipped in. Maria swung the baton and caught her wrist midair. A gun clattered to the floor. "Don't!" a voice hissed. "Maria, it's me, Anthony." She recognized the hotel's night manager, his face slick with sweat. "Anthony? What are you doing?" "I'm sorry," he stammered. "They made me do it. They said they'd hurt my family if I didn't." Before he could finish, a bullet shattered the window. Maria ducked, pulling him down. Charles burst into the room. "What happened?" "Sniper," she shouted. "Get down." Security alarms blared. Chaos erupted. Maria crawled to the control panel and slammed the panic switch. sealing the windows with steel shutters. The shooter's second bullet hit metal. Charles crouched beside her, breathing hard. "You just saved me again." She glared at him. "You attract too much trouble." He actually laughed, despite the fear. "And you're too good at handling it." The next morning, police found the sniper's nest across the street, but the weapon was untraceable. Maria sat silently in the conference room as detectives questioned staff. Charles leaned against the wall, watching her. Finally, when everyone left, he said, "Maria, whoever's behind this, they're not done. But I'll find them. For your husband." She looked at him long and hard. "You don't owe me that." "Yes, I do," he said, "because I think I know who's behind it." Her eyes narrowed. "Who?" He took a deep breath. "My own brother." The words hit her like ice. Charles continued, voice shaking. "He was the one handling the South American operations when the explosion happened. He covered it up, the deaths, the payments, everything. If these men are back, it means someone wants revenge. Maybe against him, maybe against anyone tied to that cover-up." Maria's pulse quickened. "Then we both have unfinished business." He met her gaze. "Then let's finish it together." For the first time in years, Maria didn't feel like a maid. She felt like what she once was, a soldier with purpose. And as the sun rose over London, the unlikely alliance between a billionaire and a maid who wasn't what she seemed set the stage for justice neither of them could have imagined. But revenge, as Maria would soon learn, doesn't always come from enemies. Sometimes it comes from those who call you family. To be continued. Nube de pensamiento moral lesson. Never underestimate the quiet ones. They often carry stories of strength, pain, and courage hidden behind humble smiles. Sometimes, the greatest heroes wear uniforms no one notices. Direct hit reflection question. Have you ever misjudged someone, only to later realize they were far more powerful than they appeared? If this story moved you, subscribe for more true life dramas that reveal the power of courage, redemption, and hidden strength.